Rayquaza. Rayquaza is a serpentine dragon that rules the skies, directly embodying the archetype of a celestial dragon. Its long, flowing body resembles Chinese dragons, which are depicted as guardians of the heavens and symbols of weather and fortune. One of its clearest mythological parallels is the Aztec god Quetzalcoatl, a feathered serpent who separated the earth from the sky and was associated with air and creation. Rayquaza fulfills a similar role in Pokémon lore, living high in the ozone layer and maintaining balance between Kyogre and Groudon, the rulers of sea and land. Another influence is the Hebrew myth of Ziz, the giant bird that governs the sky, paired with Behemoth and Leviathan. Together, these three creatures parallel the Hoenn legendaries, Groudon as land, Kyogre as sea, and Rayquaza as sky. Additional design connections point to the Lindworm of Norse legend, a wingless serpent-like dragon with runic inscriptions on its body. Rayquaza's Mega Evolution highlights this connection as glowing patterns flare across its form, symbolizing overwhelming draconic power. By combining global myths, Chinese celestial dragons, Mesoamerican serpents, Hebrew cosmology, and Norse lindworms, Rayquaza becomes a synthesis of sky-ruling dragons, embodying ultimate aerial dominance and divine authority. Zygarde. Zygarde represents order and balance within the Pokémon ecosystem, fitting the mythological role of a guardian dragon tied to the natural world. Its three main forms, 10%, 50%, and complete, reflect its cellular composition, emphasizing adaptability and multiplicity. Its design draws from Jörmungandr, the world serpent of Norse mythology, destined to encircle the earth and trigger Ragnarok. The serpentine qualities are most visible in Zygarde's 50% form, linking it to draconic archetypes of massive, world-spanning snakes. Zygarde also parallels Nidhogr, a dragon that gnaws at the roots of Yggdrasil, the World Tree, while being part of a wider mythological ecosystem involving stags and eagles. This ties into Zygarde's role as a regulator and protector of balance. Beyond Norse myths, Zygarde's complete form bears resemblance to Nagas of Hindu and Buddhist traditions, multi-headed serpent beings associated with protection and divine power. The way its wings resemble multiple snake heads reinforces this imagery. Thematically, Zygarde serves as a counterpart to Rayquaza. Where Rayquaza rules the skies, Zygarde governs the ground and ecosystems. Its dragon typing emphasizes its status as an elemental force of nature, embodying the role of a draconic overseer whose power ensures harmony across all living things. Ultra Necrozma. Necrozma normally appears as a psychic-type Pokémon, but when it absorbs Solgaleo or Lunala and transforms into Ultra Necrozma, it gains the dragon typing. This transformation reflects the mythological idea that dragons embody overwhelming cosmic power, far beyond ordinary beings. Ultra Necrozma's body is radiant and four-winged, resembling a wyvern, where the forelimbs are merged with wings. Its glowing, crystalline design evokes the imagery of divine or celestial dragons, beings of pure light tied to world-ending power. In the cultural context of Alola, which draws from Hawaiian mythology, Ultra Necrozma may parallel Kihawahin, a dragon goddess sometimes depicted as radiant and golden, and the Mo'o, shape-shifting lizard-like dragons capable of immense power. These connections reinforce the idea of a shining, world-altering dragon deity. Thematically, Ultra Necrozma aligns with apocalyptic dragons across global myths, creatures whose appearance signals the end of the world. Its dragon typing is not based on its default form, but emerges when it reaches its ultimate state, highlighting how draconic power often represents transcendence into a higher, more dangerous plane of existence. Latios and Latias. Latios and Latias are the twin Eon Pokémon, sharing a dragon/psychic typing. Their designs differ from traditional dragons, instead resembling streamlined, jet-like creatures. Despite their unusual appearance, their classification as dragons ties into their supernatural traits rather than their physical form. Both are depicted as highly intelligent, empathetic beings, capable of understanding human speech and even disguising themselves as humans. These abilities connect them to eons in Gnostic philosophy, immaterial beings created in male-female pairs to represent divine concepts. Their duality as a male and female pair mirrors this inspiration. Latios emphasizes speed and protection, while Latias emphasizes compassion and emotional connection. Their aerodynamic designs also hint at dragonflies, creatures sometimes referred to as sand dragons in folklore, reinforcing the subtle draconic link. Though less overtly dragon-like than others, their classification reflects their mystical origins, their psychic powers, and their symbolic pairing. As beings that transcend ordinary creatures, their dragon typing underlines their connection to mythological concepts of spiritual dragons rather than purely physical ones. Kingdra and Dragalge. Kingdra evolves from Seadra when traded with a dragon scale, shifting from a simple seahorse design to a sea dragon. Its dragon typing draws directly from Japanese mythology, where seahorses and sea dragons are considered children of dragons. According to legend, if such creatures live long enough, often 100 years, they transform into true dragons, linking Kingdra's design to this cultural belief. Dragalge is modeled after a leafy sea dragon, a relative of the seahorse. Its dragon typing follows the same reasoning as Kingdra. In Japanese myth, sea dragons are juvenile forms of greater draconic beings. Dragalge's poison typing reflects its resemblance to toxic seaweed and its tendency to blend into underwater foliage as camouflage. Both Pokemon highlight how dragon identity in Pokemon does not always rely on appearance alone. Instead, cultural myth provides the explanation. In Japan, these sea creatures are inherently connected to dragon lore, which justifies their classification even when they resemble marine animals more than classical dragons. Druddigon. Druddigon is a standalone dragon-type Pokemon with a design rooted in Western dragon imagery. Its rough, angular body and bright red and blue coloration emphasize a primal, almost monstrous appearance. Unlike many elegant or celestial dragons, Druddigon embodies the rugged, brutal side of dragon mythology. Its behavior reinforces this image. It lives in caves and becomes immobile when exposed to cold, echoing European myths where dragons lurk in hidden lairs, hoarding treasures or guarding dark places. Its jagged features also resemble gargoyles and trolls, stone-like creatures associated with caves, which may explain its immobility in low temperatures. Visually, Druddigon resembles the Rayquaza, a lizard with red and blue coloration. Combined with its cave-dwelling habits and dragon-like features, the design bridges real-world reptilian biology with the folkloric idea of feral, cave-dwelling dragons. Although it lacks evolutionary stages or legendary status, Druddigon's dragon typing is justified through its direct representation of a raw, Western-style dragon, brutish, territorial, and elemental in nature. Drampa. Drampa is a dragon/normal type Pokemon with a design that emphasizes wisdom and age rather than ferocity. Its appearance resembles a fluffy, cloud-like dragon with the face of an elderly figure, subverting expectations of dragons as solely destructive beings. A primary inspiration is Julong, a dragon of Chinese mythology described as a red, torch-eyed serpent with the face of an old man. Julong was said to control day and night simply by opening and closing its eyes, and to influence the wind with its breath. Drampa mirrors this imagery through its old man face and gentle, airy design. Drampa also reflects the tradition of dragons as protectors, rather than threats. In contrast to violent dragons like Hydreigon or Salamence, Drampa is benevolent, often portrayed as defending children or weaker beings. Its normal typing highlights this gentleness, distinguishing it from the mystical or elemental qualities emphasized in other dragons. By drawing from mythological sources that depict dragons as wise, elderly beings rather than predators, Drampa broadens the concept of dragon-type Pokemon to include guardianship, kindness, and calm power. Guzzlord. Guzzlord is a massive, gluttonous creature with an insatiable appetite. Its design fuses elements of a kaiju-style monster, a trash compactor, and a western dragon. The multiple mouths and clawed arms make it resemble demonic depictions of dragons, which in many myths symbolize greed and destruction. Its constant consumption mirrors the mythological idea of dragons as hoarders or devourers, often representing unchecked appetite. The black coloration and dark typing emphasize this destructive gluttony, framing Guzzlord as a cosmic predator whose draconic power is tied to endless consumption. Naganadel. Naganadel evolves from Poipole and has the appearance of a wasp-like creature, but with a long neck and angular wings that evoke draconic traits. The Naga, in its name, refers to Nagas, serpent beings from Hindu and Buddhist mythology often considered dragon-like in power and appearance. Although insectoid in base form, Naganedel's silhouette, long body, horn-like crest, and sharp wings resembles a stylized space dragon. Its poison typing matches its wasp origins, while the dragon typing emphasizes its elevated status as more than just an insect, tying it into extraterrestrial dragon imagery. Together, these two ultra beasts reinterpret the dragon type through the lens of alien and monstrous designs, showing how dragon identity in Pokémon can extend into otherworldly or unnatural realms. Turtonator. Turtonator is a fire/dragon Pokémon based on the Mata turtle, a spiky, flat freshwater turtle. Its volcanic shell and explosive abilities explain the fire typing, but its dragon classification is less clear. Unlike dinosaurs or serpentine designs, it lacks strong draconic traits. Instead, the typing may reference its role as a destructive volcanic beast, tying it loosely to myths of dragons associated with volcanic eruptions and poisonous fumes. However, its reliance on fire and poison themes makes its dragon typing one of the weaker justifications among dragon types. Altaria. Altaria is a dragon/flying type Pokémon that evolves from the small bird Swablu. At first glance, its design, a blue bird with fluffy, cloud-like wings, appears more aligned with fairy or flying types than dragon. However, its classification draws from subtle cultural references. Altaria's Mega Evolution strengthens this theme. As Mega Altaria, it becomes dragon/fairy, representing a celestial, divine, bird-dragon hybrid. This reflects myths where dragons are not always terrifying monsters, but can also be benevolent, cloud-like beings tied to the heavens. While its outward design looks like a soft, clouded bird, Altaria's dragon typing rests on linguistic, mythological, and astronomical references rather than overt dragon features, making it one of the most abstract examples of a dragon type.